Alright, you guys, welcome back in. I'm at the planetary hour of the sun right now. Alright, and it's currently 11:20 a.m. Alright, we've got the sun at obviously 14 degrees, 44 minutes. This whole 444 thing today just won't go away, I'm telling you. The moon at 13 degrees of Capricorn. Alright, we've got Mercury at 5 degrees of Sag. Venus at 24 degrees of Sag. Mars at still the 1st degree of Leo. Jupiter at the 20th degree of Gemini. Saturn at the 13th degree of Pisces. Uranus at the 26th degree of Taurus. We've got Neptune at the 28th degree of Pisces. Pluto at the 30th degree of Capricorn. I'm rounding up, obviously. And then we've got North Node at the 6 degrees of Aries. And we've got Chiron at the 21st degree of Aries as well. I'm going to read over very simple all of the Sabian symbols before we get started. And see what comes out in the energy. Let's start off with the 15th degree of the sun. Children playing around 5 mounds of sand. It says, first steps of humanity's spiritual breakthrough. A very small number of people have awakened to a higher level of consciousness. However, they are yet as undeveloped as children, realizing how little we really know. Numerologically, the number 5 is associated with the capacity of the mind to penetrate further into the unseen realms of discovery and create new forms for universal ideas. Few people are truly creative, and those who are invariably are still playing around with this extraordinary gift. Humanity is on the brink of a new phase of being, and those with the creative flair will be called upon to indicate how we can do things differently. All right, the moon in Capricorn at 14 degrees. An ancient bas-relief carved in granite. What is basic, stable, and true? Certain aspects of life are not subject to the whims of fancies of popularity and fashion and withstand the test of historical time, investment in the long term. From the perspective of higher consciousness, most of what claims the attention of people is of little universal consequence. Love affairs, offspring, wealth, and titles all come and go in a somewhat repetitive eternal cycle. Yet some things do not fade. They endure and pass the test of time. We may ask ourselves how much of what we are creating is adding substance to the body of the worthwhile, enduring creative output of our generation. 6 degrees of Sag with the energy of Mercury. A game of cricket. Group consciousness. There is much to learn about ourselves by finding how to relate well to a group's shared goals and disciplines. Participating in communal activity. Games are an important feature of society and have a major role to play in building group solidarity. Through the alignment with others in the context of a competitive atmosphere, we learn a lot about how we can operate at the level of group consciousness. In particular, we learn how well we take on board the concept that playing by the rules is more mature than winning at all costs. Cheating is just not cricket, the British would say in a voice meant to underline the great worth of personal dignity. 24th degree of Sag with Venus's energy. A bluebird standing at the door of the house. Peace and happiness. The formula for life, though complex, is reliable. When we get it right, we experience a serene easiness of being, finding inner peace and radiating beauty. There are rewards for those who manage both to blend into the community and yet still maintain their own style of being. These rewards tend not to be measured by things or money, but by nuances of beauty and contentment, that which makes us sing spontaneously as we are pottering around at home. Mars at the 1st degree of Leo. This one is a case of apoplexy, managing the fiery life force. An extreme level of emotional vitality requires an extraordinary degree of self-management to avoid danger, moderating our feelings of self-importance. Although fire is a vitalizing energy without which no life can exist, it is, of course, also very dangerous. On a psychological level, the fire in the heart, which is exemplified by Leo, as courage, confidence, enthusiasm, and creativity, can also become dangerous if it goes to the head. The danger is that the ego's self-love becomes overblown and unrealistic, and in the extreme case, if thwarted, can give rise to red-faced, uncontrolled, apoplectic anger. It requires great strength of character fully to embody the life force in our personality without losing poise and perspective. Jupiter at the 21st degree of Gemini. A labor demonstration. Outburst. It is healthier to release pent-up emotions rather than to continue to repress them. Allowing an outburst of pent-up feelings, workers treated unfairly by oppressors are so often overstimulated to act hysterically by the rhetoric and other clever mind traps of those who want to stir up trouble. Similarly, we are all subject to the persuasive force of words from politicians, marketing managers, and authority figures to elicit particular behaviors. Yet part of us rebels against this. It may sound right, but it doesn't feel right. And an inner compulsion causes us to rebel emotionally. Saturn at 13 degrees of Pisces. A sword in a museum. Single-pointed certainty of purpose. Rather like a wand, the sword directs our attention towards one and only one thing, and thus concentrates the will, development of sharpness of intent. There is no greater tool or weapon for the spiritual aspirant than the power of will. It sharpens the mind and impassions the thrust of projection forward. So will is often symbolized by a sword. Those whose path has shown remarkable determination to overcome obstacles develop an appropriate reputation and stands as an example of courage for others to emulate. Uranus at 26 degrees of Taurus. Welcome in, you guys. A Spaniard serenading his señorita. Acting appropriately, personal desires are acted out according to the permitted roles that our culture lays down. Learning how to behave appropriately. Having established our place in the community partly by doing what others do, we can then further our individual expression of self. We may look to do this through available social methods in sports, clubs, and music, for example, and finding various roles by which to evolve our lives, often employing glamour as an expedient. Neptune at the 28th degree of Pisces. A fertile garden under the full moon. Enough is the feast. Success is mastering the earth plane, is measured by our ability to win abundance without becoming slave to greed. It's all about fulfilling your desires. Sufism teaches of 7 planes of existence, each with its special mystery, and the mystery of the earth plane is abundance. The self-denial with asceticism may well be an important stage by which we learn to let go of need, but a more advanced level of development is typified. By having no embarrassment about desire and fulfillment, it takes mastery to cope with both sides of the challenge of physical life. The first task is to determine whether we can create plenty. The next is to learn that the feeling of abundance is not supported by greed. Enough is the feast. Pluto at the 30th degree of Capricorn. A secret business conference. Highest level of social influence. Society is structured hierarchically, and there are small groups of people who secretly direct the course of history, accepting the need for high-level management of collective affairs. In the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Great power comes when we can see what others do not see. We can grasp opportunity, avoid calamity and inconvenience, influence people, and make sound decisions for ourselves. A group of highly awakened individuals together form the ruling executive power over the world affairs, notwithstanding the rise and or fall of political fashions, nations, and economic blocs. These can see what the masses do not see. Two sides must exist of this phenomenon. The dark aspect is revealed as a satanic elite that selfishly controls the wealth and laws of the world. There is also a hierarchy of light beings, equally powerful, yet focused on keeping open the path to freedom and complete realization. We need to choose which group to offer our attention to. North Node at the 6 degrees of Aries. A square brightly lighted on one side. Crystallization of life purpose. The desire to establish oneself as a unique person. Particular drive and focus. The desire to individuate is expressed as single-pointedness of focus towards a particular aim. We must convince our fellows that we are not their enemy and find an aspect of who we are that meets with society's requirement of us. And we must also convince ourselves that we can find a way to authentically fit in. The regressive pulling back into non-individualization within the vast womb of nature must be resisted, and the force of resistance is our urge to become different. Our sense of a differentiation first awakens at the level of family and tribe. Culture operates on the principle of exclusion and one blood, one land, one people, and so we take on conventional behaviors, beliefs, and practices. However, our yearning to be expressive as an individual focuses as a drive to achieve our own special goals and have our own special attitudes to life. Chiron at the 21st degree of Aries. A pugilist entering the ring. Overwhelming power, two sides of aggression, measuring up to challenges so to examine our strengths and weaknesses. The will to power is glorified as the primordial struggle for survival of the fittest and eagerness for fame and fortune. Yet the ring with two fighters can also be seen as a Tai Chi symbol and the interplay between yang and yin. Each of the two types of energy wins in turn. Victory is always temporary in a dualistic world. All right, so I think we spoke about all energies overall. And again, today's energy is calling for Mercury in Sag that is trining over to the North Node in Aries. We've got the Moon in Capricorn sextile over to Saturn in Pisces, as well as sextile to the Sun in Scorpio. And we also have an in conjunction, a quincunx energy with Jupiter and Gemini. Everything else is more so discomfort and or showing your potential for how to utilize your vision. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to pull a couple cards from the Astro deck. Welcome in, you guys. What is going on here?